Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another video. This one is actually going to be a unique video. This is one of those videos where I was watching some other content creators, specifically the info runners this time, and they brought up this really great idea of like, what would it look like if content creators were able to put together a pack, right? Like, a pack for CIG to sell, right? And how much would it cost and things like that. And they said they might make a video on it. Well, I was like, well, I think that's a great idea for a video. So I'm hoping that, one of those folks at the Info Runner sees this and, they can critique my fleet or my pack that I built, and then hopefully it motivates them to do a video as well, because I would love to see what they would come up with as well. But yeah, so this one I'm calling the Transport Everything. The Transport Everything pack. So before I get to like my reasoning for all of that, I do want to say we are still doing the ship giveaway. It's going to be a Drake Vulture. So that's what we're giving away this month. Make sure you like, dislike, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed, and you will be entered to win that Vulture. And we still have 15 days to get to 5,000 subscribers, and then the prize would be better than a Vulture. But, like I said, I'm not going to mention it that many times. It is what it is. It either happens or it happens. I'll maybe mention it maybe once or twice more before the end of the month. But like I said, if we end the month with 5,000 subscribers, I will give away a $400 ship instead of the $175 ship. But let's get to this actual video. So why is this called the Transport Everything pack? Well, you should be able to transport just about everything in this if you have all of these ships. So I think the price of all these ships is, let me check because I have it written down here. It's about $3,420 if you buy all of these ships at their current prices, right? Now, let's remember that a lot of these ships were sold for cheaper prices when they were originally released. So it's not out of the ordinary that somebody might own all these ships and have paid less, which means it's okay to do a solid discount on these ships. Why continue to punish people who just happen to not find the game 10 years ago to get their merchantmen, or not 10 years ago, 7 years ago to get their merchantmen at $250, right? It's not that you give them the exact discounts that everybody else has, but you could give them a significant discount and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So my suggestion is this pack, and let me go through each one of the ships just a little bit because I don't want this video to be super long. I plan on probably doing a few more of these, but I'm only doing one just to see if Info Runners gets involved, and then I'll kind of go with them on that. But yeah, the idea is the Hull E is obviously, it carries more than any other ship in the game. And I think it kind of has to be in one of these types of packs where, you have to be able to carry everything. If you want to carry the most possible amount you could possibly carry in the game, you take the Hull E. So that's why it's in the pack, because then, if you can't carry it with any of these other ships, you should be able to put it on a Hull E, right? Then the Merchantmen, I'll go from like largest to smallest here. The Merchantmen is so that you can carry shops with you. A lot of people don't think of maybe needing to do shops, but it's also a mid-level cargo carrier because it carries what, 2,800 SCU or something like that. So it carries a crap ton of SCU on top of that. So it's also like I don't need to carry as much stuff that a Hull E might require, but I do need to carry a bunch of stuff. And the reason I went with something outside of the Hull series for that is because I think that covered cargo is probably a little bit better as far as, you know, the protection of the actual cargo. The hull E is really just for like, this is the only ship that can carry that much cargo. And you could even drop down to the hull D, but I think the hull E makes the most sense. Even though people will probably never be able to fill that thing up with its full amount of cargo, the idea is that you can, and you have it. You have the ship if you need to or if you want to. So then I have the Starfarer, obviously one of the very few ships that can actually carry fuel. It can't mine Quantanium, so that's the only thing that's not in here. I considered putting a Odyssey in here for mining Quantanium, but we don't have enough data on that to know. So I'm not sure if we would need a miner or not. I'm just not sure if we need a mining ship to get Quantanium. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it doesn't necessarily matter, because the reason I didn't include those ships is because you can take Quantanium with you. You can purchase Quantanium and take it with you, and then use the Starfarer to actually turn that Quantanium into usable fuel, right? So that's what I would use that cargo bay in the Starfarer for. Just have Quantanium in there, and then obviously the Starfarer needs a rework, so we can't go too deep into how it's going to work yet, but that's kind of the idea of what I would use the Starfarer's cargo bay for, and why I have the Starfarer in this pack. Then you would have the Genesis Starliner, of course, to transport people. Then you have the Liberator, which actually it fills 3 roles. It can transport vehicles, it can transport ships, and it can transport 400 SCU of cargo on top of all of that. Along with, actually it has a 4th one, which is it can also act as a drop ship, right? You can have a vehicle parked on that bay outside of the cargo bay, and then you can have two vehicles inside, or multiple vehicles inside, as many as can fit inside of there, and then it can act as a drop ship, because I also think it's 18 drop seats, something like that. So you can carry military personnel, so it's not just the Genesis Starliner, which might end up being able to carry military personnel. I'm assuming that this will end up being one of the largest drop ships if they have that variant that they talked about. And maybe you wouldn't need the Liberator for that particular role, but that's not why you're getting the Liberator anyway. It's just an extra role for it that happens to fill that need. Then you have the Mercury Night Runner. The reason I use the Night Runner instead of a regular Star Runner is because I think one of the ways that you get people to buy these packs is also if you include, a few things in there that are like unique, that people might have always wanted this thing or that thing, and they can't get it because it's not sold anymore. They got to jump through all these hoops to get it. And you say, here, if you buy this pack, you get this unique thing because you're buying the pack. And I think you could do that with a few of these, right? A special skin for the Starfarer, special skin for the Raft, special skin for the Taurus, the 3-pack skin for the Ursa Rover, which I haven't got to yet. But like, if you put a few skins in here with this, maybe like, some cargo related armor along with it. I think those are the things that kind of push people up a little bit, like, oh, well, if I get this pack, it's not just ships at a discount. It's ships plus a few skins plus, and these are things that don't cost CIG that much, right? Like, these are things that people, can win or get for free or get for super cheap, or they've already saved so much money on this that they would still be, adding money to the game, right? And you could have different versions of this, and I'll go through what the prices should be. But the Star Runner, getting that Night Runner skin, that advocacy skin, I think is really cool. That would be something that would make people like, oh yeah, like, obviously they can get it by playing that mini game, but I think this is a cool way to just say, here, you could just have it if you get this pack. And the same thing with the raft. Maybe giving one of the unique raft skins and stuff. But yeah, obviously the Star Runner is for data running, so you can transport that. The raft is, of course, so you can load your Hull E, because if you don't have anything to load it, it's going to take you a while. And you could even include multiple rafts in here. I just put one just for the sake of, the pack, and maybe, this is, I think when I think of a pack, I think of a mini fleet, right? Like I like if I buy a pack, it should be everything that I need in my fleet to get the job done. It shouldn't be like every possible thing. It shouldn't be like necessarily multiples of every ship, even if multiples of every ship are necessary. Like I think you should have one raft for every single one of these if you want to load it. So like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's 12. So I think you need 12 rafts to load this thing in any type of efficient manner, right? But I wouldn't put 12 rafts in a pack, right? It would just be kind of showing you like, you need a raft for this ship. Hopefully, if you're filling this thing up fully, you have a bunch of rafts to help you, right? But that's what I think when I think of packs. It should be like a little mini fleet of ships that will allow me to do whatever the purpose of that pack is. So the Taurus, so I thought about the Taurus and why I put it in here, right? So when you look at the amount of cargo these things can carry, I think that's kind of important here. So when you look at, I'm pointing, you can't see that. So the raft has 96. The Star Runner has what, 114, I think. So these are both kind of in the same category. The Taurus has what, 174, I believe. The Liberator has 400. The Starliner, I can't remember how much, but I believe it's in the hundreds. The Starfarer has in the 200s. Merchantman 2,800. So there's kind of a big jump from 400 all the way to the Merchantman, and the only way you could put anything else in there is if you put like an Ironclad or something in there. And the only reason I didn't put an Ironclad inside of this is because I was thinking about keeping the pack to the necessary, right? And an Ironclad would fill a hole as far as like if you want to take 1,000 SCU, around that 1,000 SCU range. But it would also be very redundant with the Liberator, and I didn't want anything that was specifically like redundant in the pack. I wanted every ship to have its own purpose, right? And the reason the Taurus made it is because the Taurus also I think this is the ship that should be used to kind of help defend all of these other ships. Like you would want multiple Constellation Taurus vehicles that are also carrying cargo, with all those size 5 forward facing guns, to help defend something like this, right? And I think that you're gonna need more escorts, right? But I didn't want to completely demolish the pack by saying, oh, and here's the escorts you should use, and adding those in the pack as well. I was like, well, one of these ships, at least one of these ships should be like, here is a great escort ship that also fulfills the role that's intended for the pack, right? So the Star Runner is not a great fighter. The Raft's not a great fighter. The Liberator might be okay. The Merchantman's going to be great. Hull E will be not so great, right? So none of these ships are really meant to fight. The Liberator, the Merchantman, and the Taurus are really, the only ones that in here that are pretty decent in a fight. But at least the Star Runner's fast, right? But yeah, I think the Taurus is one of those ships where I think it won't be enough for your full defense, but it will be enough for you to say, hey, like if we have like 5 or 6 of these Taurus, they could do some decent defense for our fleet or whatever. So that's the main reason I kept it, because I just thought it was pretty cool for the idea of a dual role between cargo and fleet defense when we're thinking of, maybe taking all of these ships out at once or something like that, or a few of these out at once. And then I got the vehicles here, which I'll scroll in for the vehicles. So I got the Ursa Rover. So the Rock DS. The Rock DS carries, it's either 2.5 or 3.5 SCU of cargo. I can't exactly remember what the cargo capacity was. Oh man. Whatever it was like a 0.5 or something like that. I remember it being like a 0.5 because I was like, why is there a 0.5 for these? But let me look it up real quick because I want to get that right. It's Rock DS. Yes, 3.5. So it has 3.5 SCU of cargo. And as far as I know, that's the most that any single vehicle can carry. Now, we might say that second seat is, not really necessary. But also, I was also thinking of the fact that this allows you to go inside of mines, or not mines. Well, I guess it could be mines, but caves is what I meant to say. You can go inside of caves. You can extract, 3.5 SCU worth of rocks and carry it out with you. And then, of course, if you just have standard boxes, you have the Ursa Rover, which carries 2 SCU, and then the Mule, which I'm hoping gets, it's you can carry smaller boxes, of course, and I think 1 SCU of a regular box. I'm hoping the Mule kind of gets either a big brother or an alternative where it has like a tractor beam, attachment or something, or maybe you could stack something on the top or something. I don't know. I'm hoping that it does, but I included that because I just feel like the Mule is it's the dedicated storage or cargo vehicle, whereas the Ursa Rover is not really dedicated to that. It just has that capability. And the Rock also allows maybe in the future. I don't know in the future if it'll allow certain things, but I'm not 100% sure what the end state of any of these things are going to be. But I think that kind of covers the mining aspect of like the ground mining. It's only ground mining, so it's not. I don't think it breaks that rule of like being useful for this particular pack. So there it is. There's my reasonings for all the ships. So what is the price? Like I said, the price for this would be about $3,420. That's not including taxes because that's going to be relevant to wherever you live. So that's before tax, right? So my thing is, I think you could, if you're getting, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ships and 3 vehicles, right? I think most people who buy this, they might want to take out 1 or 2 of these ships. They might be like, I don't need that ship. I don't care about that part. But if you're buying the transport complete pack or whatever we would call it, it's because, this is your dedicated role, or it's giving you the ability to do all of these particular things. Now, if you don't want a ship in this pack, don't forget that you can always upgrade the ships that you don't want. Like some people are like, well, I have no need for the ground vehicles. I'm never going to use them. Or maybe I don't care about the Rock DS and the Mule. You can upgrade those to whatever you want. The raft, maybe somebody's like, I don't count data running as, a cargo, so I wouldn't use that one. There's things that you can upgrade those to. So just remember that anytime you buy a pack. Again, I think packs should be for the main reason you're buying packs are for the massive discount and for some unique things that are within that pack that you just can't get outside of it or without some effort outside of that pack. So I would say this pack should be $2,500. That would save everybody about $900 on all these ships. Now, that might seem crazy because that's like more than a 25% discount, but that's the thing, CIG. If you want people to spend money, like large amounts of money on this, you have to give them a massive incentive to do so. You include the extra skins, you include, you know, limited ships that they can't get outside of, you know, ship sales, and then you include some armor in there. You know, it doesn't have to be multiple sets of armor, but like one or maybe one set of armor and one weapon. You know, or with this one, I would say it should be some cargo related armor, maybe a mech suit or something like that that helps you lift you know, multiple SCU of cargo. You know, and then I would include a tractor beam weapon, a heavy one and a small one, so that they could, you know, everything in the pack is built towards you moving cargo. If you buy this, right, it's the one-stop shop for cargo. And, you know, yeah, you gotta take some money off of that. And let me tell you why that price is gonna make sense, right? I'm taking 920 off the top, making it a solid 2,500. I thought about just doing like 25%, and then it came out to some weird number like 2,600 or something. So I was like, no, let's just make it an even 2,500. And I can justify that, right? So the merchantman by itself, right? There's people who own the merchantman for $250, and right now it sells for what, 600? I believe it's 600. It's either 600 or 650. Let me check that. Yeah, no, 650. So that's $400 right there. Right there. That CIG you're asking to get now that you weren't asking for before. So that's $400 right there. We only got 500 more to make up. The Hull E was what, $350 for the longest, and now it's $750. There's another 400 right there. That's already 800. We've already covered 800 of the 950 that we said this was, or the 920. Right, so now we only got to make up 100, right? The Starfarer, or the, what is that? I know 120 that we have to make up. So the Starliner, I don't think has went up a lot in price. I think it was three. It was no, I don't think it went up in price. I think it was always 400. The Mercury, that went up like $50. I think it was 210 or 215 when it came out. The Liberator, I believe, went up $50. The Taurus went up. The Raft, I'm not 100% sure if the Raft went up, but you kind of get the point here. I'm basically at that point you're splitting hairs. But if you look at the original cost of just these two ships, you're already making up that $900 difference. There's people who already own these. Now, if that doesn't make you think, well, why would CIG give up this $900 or whatever, right? They already do it. People play the CCU game and they're already getting the merchantmen for less than $300. They play the CCU game, they're already getting the Hull E for less than $750, right? If they, you know, and yes, that requires some effort to do, but the idea of a pack is, hey, you're going to pay this big chunk of money and you're going to skip that extra effort or whatever it is to get these types of discounts because you're buying everything at one and you're locking yourself into a pack, right? Like you can't just melt part of the pack and change out whatever you want, right? Like if you want a ship that's cheaper than a Starfarer, you can't get that one unless you upgrade one of these other ships that just happen to be cheaper than a Starfarer. And if you don't want a Hull E, oh well, you're getting a Hull E because you can't upgrade it to anything and you can't melt it. And the merchantman only has so many options if you don't want the merchantman. So you're locking yourself into something. So what do you get out of it? And that's what I think CIG should focus on. What are we giving the player that makes them want to spend $2,500 in one sitting on, some ships? And I think this is it, right? You're getting what is that? Like a 30% plus discount on all the ships. On top of that, you're getting maybe a unique armor or a very difficult to get armor set. You're getting weapons or gadgets related to the pack, and you're getting some limited skins. Not every ship should necessarily needs a limited skin, but I think if you maybe one or two for one for the big ships and two for the smaller ships. And I think, you know, 3 limited skins added to that, I think is an excellent deal. And like I said, this would be called the Transport Complete Pack. And I think you could also do, you know, variations of this if you think this is too many ships or whatever. Like you could take the hull E out and put a hull C, and that would change the price. And you could say maybe you do 5 different variations. You take the hull E out and replace it with a hull C, and that's maybe this is tier 5, and with the hull C it would be tier 4, and then or better yet, this is tier 4, and then you could take the merchantman out. You could take the merchantman out and put a Kraken in, a Kraken privateer in, and that would be tier 5. And then tier 3 would be no merchantman at all, and no hull E at all. It would be a hull C. You replace the merchantman and the hull E with a hull C, and then you get an ironclad in there, and then there's your tier 3, and then you remove the hull series, you remove the ironclad, and then you just have these for tier 2. And then for tier 1, maybe you remove the Liberator or the Genesis Starliner. Maybe I think the Genesis Starliner might be the best bet to remove in that category. And then you just have these ships in here. And I think that there you go. You could go tier 1 all the way to tier 5. And yeah, that's my should it be a pack? I don't even know what to call it. Like my pack idea. If CIG you know, wants to start reaching out to content creators, shout out to Info Runners for coming up with that idea. And like, I hope that they actually make a video about this. I would love to, like, you know, go into the comments and talk to them about that stuff. And yeah, like, I think, what do you think? What do you think would be a good pack? What ship should I take out of this or add to this? What did I miss anything? Did I get the pricing right? Like I said, this is $3,420 worth of ships if my math is right, and I would be dropping it down to $2,500 plus the armor, the gadgets, and the skins. Would you buy this? Would you buy this pack if you were, you know, if cargo focused? So I want to hear about all that stuff in the comments, and go check out Info Runners, like, subscribe, comment, and everything that you do. Most of my viewers, I think, are already Info Runners, like, folks anyway. Like, so, you know, I don't think most of you will have to run over there and do that, but they have a great channel, and those guys are awesome. I listen to them just about every day. They don't make videos every day, but just about every day they make one, I listen. So yeah, anyway, there you have it. This was a fun one, and I look forward to doing more videos like this. I might actually even do some variations of some stuff like this, because yeah, this is pretty fun putting this together. So all right, I look forward to talking to you all in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for spending your time with us. Peace.